Hey guys, Pieguyrulz here, and welcome back to the Adventure Time TVlogs. So this episode was probably the first in a while that featured a new character that I was actually like really engaged with. Like we've had quite a few lately. If you want to include Jake's tail, like which is kind of weird because Jake's tail had an episode a few episodes ago, and now Shelby's tail has an episode. But, I wasn't, Sad Face didn't do it for me. James 2 really didn't do it for me. Last season, I kind of liked episodes like Root Beer Guy, but, like, it didn't totally engage me. This really engaged me, and I think it was because it fulfilled something that I kind of wanted to see with Finn and Jake, was that it is a very, very traditional adventure, right down to, like, temptations and stuff that Shelby's tail goes on. What was his name, Kent or something like that? But like it was very traditional with, you have to, okay, so there's this great evil, you gotta help the townsfolk that you just met who healed you up. You gotta find the 3 mystical elements of the sword, and along the way you have to resist the temptation to give in to greed or evil or whatever. And then you come back, you get the sword, you go off, you fight the king, and you win. The evil rat king. Like it's very much traditional and by the books, but that's what's great about it, is because that's what Adventure Time loves to turn it completely on its side, because we have this really traditional story with these really traditional elements and setup, but it's a character, it's a very minor character's tale that split off and becomes the main character of this episode. Like, that is so weird, and something that only Adventure Time could pull off, but it works. This is a character we've technically never met before. He's formed in this episode, and I wouldn't be surprised if we never saw him again. Wouldn't really be surprised if he came back either, knowing Adventure Time. But it's just kind of like this one-off, I guess you'd call it a filler episode or whatever, but it really just kind of engages you and makes you, I don't even know much about the character, the main character of the episode. We never really learned too much about him, other than the fact that he's just born. It's very, very interesting. I mean, I wish I like this more than I like, definitely more than I liked Lemon Hope's whole 2-parter. I would say I am still kind of, getting a little bit sick of these side character episodes. I would love to see more of, Finn and Jake. I like that they do this. I'm feeling it's a little bit too frequent, but you know what? If they're all of this quality, I think I could really handle that. I like that we got to see the dancing bug again with this cool dance thing that he does, and I like Shelby's little bug party, and I like how the entire plot is set into motion because Shelby wants to do a stupid parkour thing. It's very interesting, and it's also one of those great episodes where you don't know where it's going. Like, you don't know what the ending of this episode's gonna be. And in addition to Shelby's tail having all of his stuff, like, we still get this weird thing where Shelby kind of doesn't know what it's like to have a little brother, and he misses him, and we get a really interesting little song. I like Jake's explanation of what being a brother is. It's like, oh, you give your little brother a sword and he fights monsters, and sometimes you gotta grow really big to protect him. Like, it's just kind of like a sweet little moment. So yeah, so I thought it was definitely a good episode. I'm still yearning to see more of Finn and Jake. I mean, we're what, like 11 episodes into the season, and about half of them have been focused on side characters, or these one-offs, or that kind of thing. Like even last episode, the focus wasn't even on Finn and Jake. We got a bit of them, but a lot of it was on the War Elephant. A lot of it was on Princess Bubblegum. We're not getting too much Finn and Jake anymore, and I think that the show knows how to do these things with these side characters, but I think it's grown a little bit too comfortable with making up these stories with side characters. It seems that stories that they would have ordinarily have given to Finn and Jake a long time ago, now they're putting these to these new and side characters and saying, well, Finn and Jake, we've kind of taken a more serious turn. They can't really go on goofy adventures anymore, so here, how about Jake's tail will join the circus, or we'll have James 2 get cloned and be goofing around with himself. Like, these are things that you would have expected. Like, if this were season 1, these were plots that would have been Finn and Jake, hands down. I think the writers might be a little bit wary about putting Finn and Jake in a silly situation after all of these kind of serious episodes. I don't think there's really a problem with it. I think we've had enough of Finn being mopey that, you know, we see that in this show that we don't see in a lot of other shows, where the main character is actually mopey about things like losing his arm, about finding out his dad's a deadbeat, about that kind of thing, about losing your girlfriend. Like, Finn's kind of been through all of that, so I think it's totally justified if they wanted to have just a goofy episode where Finn and Jake had to go topple an evil king, and it was a very traditional adventure story. But nonetheless, I think they pulled it off really wonderfully here with this side character. That's about it. I'm still hoping for more of Finn and Jake in Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. But the writers definitely know how to write, so as long as they provide something that's interesting and entertaining like this episode was, I'll still be on board. So, yeah. Pieguyrulz, out.